Now, ladies and gentlemen, moving on to the next session of the day, security at the edge. A very interesting and a very exciting topic. And to talk on this, let me welcome to you on the stage Mr. Sudhanshu M. Nayak, Head Cybersecurity and Cyber Forensic from CMS IT. Sudhanshu, a warm welcome to the India CISO Summit.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you very much. And good morning, everyone. Hope you're having a good time. Without much further ado, let me start my presentation. Please ask me as many questions and make it as interactive as possible, or put in your questions on the chat window. I'll take it from Soumya later on. Sure. So, just to give you an introduction, CMS IT Services, had introduced defensible cybersecurity, which is more a holistic and integrated cybersecurity, system of solutions, which take care of all kinds of leakages that you will normally see in the organizations. Now, these are typical industry problems that you would have come across. Whether there are misaligned service metrics, whether there are monotonous compliance checks, whether we are doing more number of compliance checks than required, and we are leaking a lot of value because of that, whether we have DevOps cycles which also do not have their security inbuilt into them to make them integrated sec DevOps, etc. Right? So all this fragmented decisions, rigid sourcing models, they ultimately culminate in what we call as a low cyber security value accrual. Right? Specifically, when you talk about the seven various pillars, right? So I will come to the seven various pillars. Now, for this, using the NIST Cyber Security Framework, we have taken in protect, detect, and respond as three different components of the entire cybersecurity portfolio. All right. Now, specifically for the edge devices, which could be your end user devices of multiple, different form factors, could be mobile phones, could be your office assistant devices, could be your laptops, desktops, or workstations, could be servers or switches in the branches, etc. All these edge devices could be your edge components of the cloud as well. Now, for this, we have a very specific set of solutions which get integrated into a single platform called security at the edge. Okay. Now, let me take you to what we do there. Now, specifically, if you have noticed, there are a lot of people, who have been operating from their homes. Now, with the new terminology, which we call as figital, right? So, which is a physical and a digital workspace coming together. People operating from their homes with 3 or 4 different devices, 3 or 4 different form factors, 3 or 4 different OS, which is getting connected into the workspace to access applications over the cloud, to access applications in the network, and to access either legacy or very new applications which are cloud native or otherwise. All this complicates the entire scenario, right? So we do not really know. There are many customers who we interact with on a regular basis. They are actually confused. Should we go for an antivirus with an EDR, with a NAC solution, with an MDM solution, with an device health solution? How much can we really spend to get the right optimum spending in place so that our technology is as robust as possible, the security is as robust as possible, while we also get to take business risks and take the business ahead. There is a saying which goes, the ship is the safest in the harbor, but the question is the ship built to really stay in the harbor, or go and dominate the high seas? Right? That is the problem that everybody is grappling with, right? So other than that, people are also accessing company data while any time of the day, right, from anywhere, right? It could be a mobile kiosk, it could be a marketplace where they log into your unsecured Wi-Fi channels, etc., and they log into their own devices, and log into their own applications using IDs which could be their own or which may not be their own. And this brings us to a very complicated scenario. And for this, keeping this in mind, we developed a very lightweight set of solutions. We integrated them into a platform, right? and that is based on what we call as the zero trust chakras, right? So do not get bogged by the full gamut of the solutions which you see on the screen right now, right? So we have taken all the different segments of your corporate infrastructure, whether physical, whether it is private or it is public, etc., and we have figured out what are the various solutions that a customer may need. Now we call them the zero trust chakras, and these have been built on the various chakras of the human being, right? The energy chakras. Please understand that if you assume that the entire organization is like a human being, a fully functional, optimal human being, right? So all these energy chakras can represent the various components that you have, right? And this is in the full maturity cycle. So depending on the level of maturity that any organization is going through, specifically on the edge devices, there are two things we need to do. Number one, we need to do a detect and protect portfolio that has to be built in place. And secondly, we have to bring in a set of services and a governance and compliance framework so that you not only forget to monitor and manage the devices for which you have taken the protection, you also get compliant and you also govern those policies and procedures in a way that this entire scenario becomes very robust. Moving on. Now specifically, let me go to the components of what we do here. Right now, if you consider there are 4 or 5 devices or types of devices, now they release a lot of logs, right? So every device releases logs. They have various access controls which are built into it. Now they access certain applications which are essential and are very critical for the organization, for them to release, for them to deliver their roles, right? Now some applications may be cloud native, some applications could be new age, some applications could be so legacy we will not be able to build access controls on that. Now there is a provision of building a software defined perimeter. We can cloak the application with a specific contraption, software contraption, where you can give the access control on the contraption and on the cloak before moving in and accessing the application. There is a portal that we built for this entire solution, where you can, from where you can choose your components. For example, if you need EDR, you already have AV but you don't have encryption, you can choose encryption. If you have mobile device management, a lot of mobile devices, people are mobile all the way and all around the globe, you can choose a mobile data platform or mobile device management platform. That also you can choose from the portal. And once that is done, specifically if there are any reports which you want to download, there is an integration with the portal where the reports will be pulled in from our monitoring and management system, which is based in integrated cybersecurity command center I3C in our Bangalore center, right? From there, the configuration, the health check alerts, the monitoring updates which has to come to the CISO team or the ISMS team, they keep on coming regularly. Now what do we really do here? Once the user has been registered, the device has been registered, the user identity authorized, and the device identity has been authorized based on whether the device is healthy, has the right patches, etc., has been adherent to the policies of the organization, has been hardened to the OS or the other device guidelines. Then we move on to whether this can be integrated to the antivirus systems, to the EDR, MDM, encryption, or the data loss prevention systems. If that integration takes place, post that we also figure out whether the devices need patching, whether it is a laptop or a desktop, whether it's a workstation. Now for Windows systems, we don't have too much to worry about. Is the Linux systems which actually are the cause of concern because they're open source. So unless we have a disciplined system, structured system of patching, and we do a cadence regularly, we will not be able to monitor whether these patches have been updated or not. I recently read one of the data statistics, which says more than 50% of the cybersecurity breaches happen not because patches were not available, but because patches were available, but somebody in the system took a decision not to update them, or did not even know that the patches have to be updated. So patching cadence and hardening is a very essential step here. Uh, if the devices are getting connected over the network, even before you come to know about what is the communication that the devices are going to happen and are going to take are going to initiate with the network, do you want to go for a full-fledged network access control system, or there are specific functionalities which you want to really call out and put in the system? That also can be done here. That flexibility is available. Similarly, for the network security and for the data segregation. Now, for this system, it is a very essential thing to have a multi-tenanted architecture to build scale. For that, we build containers of data with continuous security, like you have continuous integration, continuous development, deployment like CI/CD. We also talk about continuous security for the system. We segregate the data from customer to customer, and it is well protected. Those protection mechanisms have been inbuilt in our own compliance guidelines. We are a ISO 27001 compliant system. We have ACI CMM level 5. So this containerization and data segregation has been put in place, right? And with that, in case you are interested to do a 24 cross 7 I3C integration, I3C stands for Integrated Cyber Security Command Center, from where that is our SOC, integrated SOC, from where we have our SIM, SOAR, UBA, and our threat intelligence platforms all integrated. Now, in case you want monitoring of your edge devices, this integration is seamless, right? And with that, if there are some regulatory compliances, and if you want to bring in automation, we use Automation Anywhere platform along with Timeleaf to bring in Timeleaf and Springboard platforms to bring in the automation, the reporting, and the dashboards for the entire scenario, right? So this is the primary engine which actually helps us securitization of the devices with all the exception reporting or the compliance reporting that you may need. There is also provision to create customized dashboards for you, right? And in case there are any specific other tools which you want to implement or integrate into the system, for example, if you want to go for a specific, say, privilege identity management PIM solution to be integrated to the solution, that also can be worked out, right? But the integration will have to be discussed in a different discussion, all right? Now, just a small snapshot about how we monitor all the devices from our integrated cybersecurity command center out of Bangalore. Now, please understand, this is completely, disaster recovery compliant. The disaster recovery center is based out of Bombay. So, Bombay is the failover of the SOC in Bangalore, and the vice versa. So, the data is completely secure. Both of them are in different earthquake-prone regions, right? So, there is a continuous 24 cross 7 shared services model which works in the back end with continuous updation of threat intelligence depending on the customer's requirement, and it can be anywhere. So it can be the edge devices, it can be the server storage compute devices, or the databases, or the application devices also. So we leverage I3C for monitoring and management of the entire edge devices for providing security at the edge, right? Now, what are the primary benefits of it? There are four primary sets of benefits, right? So first benefit is a very quantitative, in your face kind of a benefit which customers have actually felt. One of our customers, they mentioned that we have been pleasantly surprised. The pleasantly surprised within quotes is what they actually mentioned. Now, please understand that as your ship sails into the high seas with the kind of risks, with the growth that you know envisage, there will be a very high need for speed to go to the market. Now, this helps provision your security solutions for your edge devices with a very high increase of speed. More sometimes, if the time taken earlier was more than 6 months to provision, we do it, at less than half the time. Number two, because we take away a lot of activities from automation, lot of activities from provisioning, deprovisioning of devices, new tools, new softwares, etc., there is a definite increment in the IT team's productivity internally, and this can also be measured. And because we use a very high level of automation and hyper automation in our certain processes and business procedures, there is greater than 20% of savings which we can commit upfront. These are the quantitative benefits that you will definitely see. Now, are there any qualitative benefits? Yes. Now, if you go for purchasing a standalone NAC tool or an identity and access management tool or a software defined perimeter tool, etc., you invest, you make capital investments. Right now, here you don't have to. Here you just mention the number of devices and the number of tools or the functionalities, and you get your answers and solutions already provisioned for you. These are the qualitative benefits that you see. Are there any freebies? Right, yes, there are freebies. If we sign up with a there is a minimum order quantity which we go for. If the minimum order quantity is met, you have an annual defensible cybersecurity assessment which comes free with it. Quarterly, for around about 50 IPs. If you're a startup, we can do the vulnerability assessment free of charge. And if you have email systems which are either cloud based or on site, we can do one email compromise assessment free. And this is a tool which is non-invasive. You can seek an approval from the IT team, and it can run the background and share the reports with you directly, saying these are the various business email compromise email IDs which you may want to take action on. And are there any integrated solutions which you may look at for your scalability of the system? Yes, as I mentioned earlier, single invoice across all the components which you purchase. No, giving separate invoices for identity access, no separate invoice for antivirus or encryption or EDR or NAC solution, etc. One single monthly invoice which helps you, take care of your problems. Secondly, it is an integrated 24/7 monitoring. If you want to take the services from our I3C, that is possible. If you want to do it on site with your team, that is also possible. Now, there is a unified portal, and there is a very strong integration to SIEM and security orchestration, automation and response, user entity behavior analysis, and threat intelligence. That helps leaps and bounds while we're trying to support the security at the edge. So this brings to my end of the presentation. Right, so thank you very much. You have been a great audience. If there are any questions, I'm ready to take the questions.
20 seconds. Sudhanshu, thank you for that wonderful session. I think that was really, really an exciting, subject and topic. So we got one question, from one of the, two questions actually, and I can have 1 minute additional for you for this question. So let me just read out the question which we have got. So Mr. Santosh Surve is asking the question: is it mean the proposed solution will have full control, and that is through internet? In simple language, where we are add one more risk. If you can make it out that question, Sudhanshu.
No, I understood. I understood the question. Answer is yes and no, right? So any solution that you really take, Mr. Santosh, that adds to risk, right? So there is a saying in one of the Harry Potter books: do not place your faith if you do not know where your mind is, right? So if you place your faith in something, if you don't know how it is doing the computation, you don't know. So you are always welcome to audit and assess the system. You are welcome to see how we segregate the data between the various customers, how the multi-tenancy works. We will open up the books and the incidents for you to audit. So risks, we are a very strong risk management company. We do governance and risk and compliance for large corporations who have presence in 130 countries. So we understand risk. I will be sharing one case study if necessary with you, where we do even security controls and procedure controls of large organizations like this.
Great, Sudhanshu. Sudhanshu, one last question, and very quickly in the next 20 seconds.
Sure.
Question has been asked by Shashank Agarwal. What
Sure.
measures can be taken at the ISP level? If you can just quickly touch that in the next 20 seconds.
Okay, so this is not related to the presentation. However, there could be multiple security guidelines which you can create. You can have a network traffic analysis system which can be built into the system if you want to have some kind of visibility to the ISP data communications, the data inflow outflow at the ISP level. Secondly, you can create a firewall, next generation firewall, to to be either built into the architecture so that any data which enters your system, right, so that it enters through the firewall. If there are applications which are on the web, you can go for specifically web application firewalls with a DNS security built in, and that should help the system. But I would love to discuss more. If you have certain requirements, I can discuss more on this.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Sudhanshu, for that wonderful session. And I'm sure many further questions coming in. Definitely, Sudhanshu is available to take it offline with all of you. Thank you so much for joining in, Sudhanshu. I look forward to having you again next year in
Sure.
our next session. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye bye.
You, you're welcome.